Are you tired of feeling like you have so much to offer in your work, but it's just not coming through? Watching what everyone else is doing and wondering whether that will work for you? Stop that right now. You've come to the right place, because here on the Cosmic Queen podcast with me, Rachel Starr, you're going to discover your genius, your gifts, and how you can use your iconic cosmic blueprint to create the business and lifestyle you crave. I started my business as a side hustle alongside my successful career in tech. When I had my son during lockdown, I knew it was time to leave the corporate jungle for the entrepreneur's adventure. I'm a 2-5 manifesting generator with a Sag midheaven archetype, and I've built it all my way. Now I'm going to teach you to do the same. This is a no cookie cutter advice zone. Here we use personalized and effective systems like astrology and human design to work smarter, not harder, and have a damn good time doing it. Welcome to the Cosmic Cutting Edge. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cosmic Queen podcast. I am so excited for today's episode because we are covering a topic that we have not covered yet on the Cosmic Queen podcast. This is a much requested video. People always want to hear from people about their lived experience when it comes to human design. It's great hearing about the theory, right? It's great hearing about the theory and learning about, the concepts and the intellectual side of, how the aura works and what your strategy is and your signature and all these things. That's important, but there's something special about hearing it directly from someone who lives every day of their life as their design and also is aware of it. And so I have a very special guest today, Tatiana, who is here.
Hey.
And I'm so excited. We're going to be talking about manifestors, baby.
Hey, it's me. Hi.
I know, oh my God, this is going to be such a fun and juicy episode. Like, I can't wait to get into it. I have so many questions for you. But first I want to introduce you, and then we need to talk about how we met, or maybe I'll do that the other way. We'll flip it. So how we met is so manifestor. Like,
Yes.
so
I did
tell
it.
us. Yeah. Tell us how this came about. I feel like it should come from you. You tell us.
Yeah. So I'm on TikTok a lot because I love to rest and just binge TikTok.
Chronically online. Yes.
Yeah. And I'm in astrology, human design, all of this. And I find your account in one of my For You page video about midheaven, which is like right on theme for me at the moment. So it's perfect.
Career.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
We love the universe sending the perfect message at the perfect time. And then I followed you, and then your TikTok live just popped up on my For You page, and you were recording a podcast, I think last podcast.
Yeah, the one with Robert. I think was the one with Robert. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, talking about Pluto and
it was super interesting. I loved it, and I was like, I wanna talk astrology and human design, because that's the one thing I don't think I found that much around.
Yes.
It's like people both having astrology and human design. You can find astrology by itself, and there's a lot of like great people talking about that, and I love it. And there's like a lot of like human design content creator, and they're so good and whatever. But the mix of both is usually hard to find. So finding your account was like, yes. And I was like, I want to talk. We need to talk. We need to do that. So
we need to geek out about all the things.
Like... Yes, exactly. So I just reached out to you and say, hey, can I join and make a podcast episode with you so we can talk about
love it.
All of this. So
I love that so much, because that's such a manifestor thing to do. First of all, like, yes, like you get an idea, you have an urge, you reach out, you make it happen. And I received that, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love her vibe. Like, we just vibed like in the DMs, like we were like, yes. And I was like, you know what, this would be great, let's do it. And then like here we are, like 2 weeks later or whatever it is. And so and I think that I loved that you did that. And I felt like it just demonstrated how much you trust yourself and how much you also understand your human design, and you're just doing it. And so I was like, this would be such a great conversation for people to like listen in on, us discussing what it's like living life as a manifestor. Yeah.
No, definitely. And that's the thing, like, sometimes you can get lost in the human design
Yeah.
vocabulary of like urges and like whatever, and
Hmm.
it's just so simple as like reaching out to something that you want, and if it
Yes.
doesn't work, if the person doesn't respond, you'll find a way to do it. Like I've reached out to other people like about like being on podcasts and stuff,
Yeah.
and didn't work out, or it didn't, you know, and it's
Yeah.
fine. It's
And
just,
it's okay, right? It's
yeah,
like,
and
well,
you just move to the, and that's the thing also, like because manifestor, if you have this like mindset of, oh, it's the urges, I need to do it, I need to do it with this person, and like when you like you push and you push, and
mhm.
sometimes it's just like you have these urges and you do it, but it's not the right person or the right timing, and it will come at later in a better way. So
Yes.
you can get like you can get lost and like find this like, oh, I didn't really follow my urges, or it's just
Mhm.
like
You're
it can be like
overthinking it.
tricky,
I
like because
find
the
that.
mind can like push you into this, oh, but that's not right for you, so you just like completely dismiss this
Yes.
instead of like just directed or pivot whatever you wanted to do.
Oh
So
my
it's
gosh,
just
this is
like,
so good.
yeah.
Already, I feel like we are dropping the gems. We're dropping the gems. So yeah, I was thinking, earlier we were talking about like who is this podcast for? Oh, number one, manifestors. If
Yeah.
you are a manifestor, like I just want to make a plug right now, send this episode to your friend. Or if you have a friend who's a manifestor, a loved one, a child, whatever. Or if you are a manifestor, listen up because I think there's something really wonderful in like feeling seen and understood by someone who experiences similar things. And I already know Tatiana's dropping the gems for us today. So this is going to be so
Well,
helpful, yeah, to people who may be experiencing the challenging side of being a manifestor or not
oh yeah.
understanding, yeah, the incredible magic that you have inside of you. So good. Okay, let me officially introduce Tatiana, and then we're going to get into some
Yes,
questions.
let's do
Yes.
this.
So I love this. Tatiana is a French filmmaker. Oh, it says so glamorous. Like, I love it.
I know.
Lived in the US for 4 years, came back to France right before COVID, and decided to do a deep dive into her trauma through spirituality. She found out about human design mid 2020. Great time to dive in.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, what's going on here? And started to really experiment with her design in November. She's been trying to understand what being a manifestor really is since, and also has done deep trauma therapy from 2021 to 2023. So, human design, I assume, has been like a fundamental part of that kind of healing journey for you as well, right?
Yeah, it's so weird. The whole process of thing is like how I initiate myself into this like deep dive in my trauma, and like the whole process of it, and finding human design through that process was, it was something like I already knew, and I already like kind of like was leaning into it, but finding human design just opened it with an entire vocabulary and,
Yes.
you know, recognition of what I was already feeling. I'm a splenic manifestor.
Oh,
So
yes, we should mention that. Yeah,
yes,
tell us.
I'm a
Mhm.
5-1 splenic manifestor.
Nice.
And I have a single definition, so it's like all internally
Yeah.
happening for me.
You're just like, here's what I want to do. I like working on my own, all these things. So good. But how did you, before I get into like the nuts and bolts, how did you find human design or how did it find you? Was it
So
online or yeah.
funny thing is like, so I was through I've been in a spiritually environment my entire life. My grandma used to like tarot read, and like she was in
Love that.
astrology. I picked up where she left out pretty much.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I've always like grown up with this like understanding of spirituality thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I had the chance where I'm in France, right? There's this place where there's a lot of like spiritual therapists, coaches, stuff like that. So
Oh,
it was
south
just
of
like,
France is like with like ley lines and like and the history, the Gnostic history, and I know there's
yeah,
a
there's a
lot
lot of
going on
people.
there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of people diving into it. So I just like I tested a lot of things, and then I found this person, I think online though.
Mhm.
She was talking about spirituality and sexuality, and she also was doing like readings and coaching, and I did one with her for something at the at the time I was dealing with, and she just like, hey, mention, you should. She's also a fellow manifester, so she's super interesting
Nice.
to watch her because she's also an entrepreneur and a coach, and like she has like this all manifester way to do it. So it's
Nice.
really really cool.
Oh, it's so
Um,
refreshing, right? When you see that,
yeah,
it's like, oh, like we don't all have to be cookie cutter. We don't all have to run our business the same way. That's
yes, and
wonderful.
don't like not pushing ourselves and like hustling because we are not made to do that. So it just yeah.
Yeah.
And she just introduced it to me, and she said, "Hey, you should check out your design and what you are." I think she knew I was a manifestor in some level, so
She could sense, yeah,
yeah.
the spidey sense.
So I checked it out. I was like, okay, I was already like going through like using a lot of tools, so I was like, maybe it's not like the right timing. And then a few months later, I was like, okay, there's something tickling my mind with this, so I need to check out. And as a full one line, I just like dive into it. I like, oh my god, this is yes. I need more
The
information. I need more.
investigator, yeah, being a 5-1, I imagine, learning about the lines as well must have been really supportive, because the one line for everyone, if you're new to human design, is the investigator. And so they like to go deep and research. And then the 5 line is the heretic. And so they're really here to bring solutions to the people, and they do that in a way that where it can really support a wide variety of people. And they can kind of have this interesting, I did a podcast, by the way, if anyone wants to go on a deeper dive on the 5th line, I did a podcast on that. And there can be this kind of like hero versus villain thing and projection that happens with the 5th line.
Oh yeah,
And so I think,
that's
yeah.
that was a big thing for me. So yeah.
Was it? Yeah. So did that feel really supportive to kind of know about, oh, not only do I have the manifestor thing
Yeah.
where it's kind of like people, it's like the Marmite, like people like love or hate, they understand or they totally misunderstand me. And then there's the 5th line projection of people think they know who I am, but they don't know who I am. Was that
Yeah.
resonating with
Yeah, it
you?
was so freeing to learn all of this because in a sense where I was like, I understand myself in such a deep level, and I always like kind of like introspect whatever was going on in my life. But finding out that whatever people were putting onto myself, where I was like, there's so many periods of my life where I was like, I wanted to make sure everyone was fine. I was like such a people pleaser and like helping everyone.
Hero, the hero.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, the hero. Like I had all the solution, and not in a sense where I was just I wanted to have all the solution, but it was easy for me. And I also have both channels that
Defined.
yeah, the 1858 and the 1645. I think like it's like the all like judgment to throat channel.
Oh, do you have the whole stream? Oh, yeah. So that's how you're define. That's how you're a manifestor. Oh my goch. So that's the stream of taste.
Yeah,
So
so
it's
that's
about,
the thing like
yeah,
where you can find like you can see the problem
yeah,
and just like
48 to 16. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
and then just like literally say it. And
Oh,
I grew up with that without even knowing, but
yeah.
everywhere I go, I see the problem. I'm like, oh, we should do that, and you
Yes.
become this like person with all the solution.
Yes.
And but with the 5th line, people kind of like project you to be this like person to go to for every single problem.
Oh,
And as
wow.
a
Yes.
manifester, it's not right because I'm the one who initiate like, oh, hey, I see this change. I want to be in this change. I want to
Yes.
initiate in this like particular setting,
Exactly.
not in the way where like, hey,
Like a
people come.
generator. Yeah,
Yeah,
you have to decide. Yeah, because a generator would be more, okay, I respond to what people are asking for. A manifestor is like, oh no, 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 no. Like I decide what people need, and I decide what I'm going to put out there and initiate. And that's just interesting. I want to say something really quick about the stream of taste. It's very rare for someone to have a whole stream, so that's really something to pay attention to. If you're someone's looking at their human design and they see they have streams is kind of an advanced thing in human design. I have the stream of feeling, which is the opposite.
Yeah, the
Yeah, the
we talked
opposite.
about that, the 35 to 36, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
just like
it goes
the
41, 30, 35, 36. So I
yeah,
have that whole thing. And whenever someone has like a whole stream and that goes from the root through an awareness center to the throat, that means that there's something big that they're here to say. Like that's a really big, there's something like from the root, from that like deep place that they're here to say. And it can be this pressure to like speak your truth and share, but it's also such a gift, and so I'm excited to see how this develops for you, because the stream of taste is very potent, like very powerful.
yeah, and it's funny because like so again with the projection and like people and being a manifestor, being a woman, being
Yeah.
young, like because I'm 31 now, but
Mhm.
growing up with this like thing, I always had that in me. And
Of course.
it's also unconscious to my throat, so
Oh, yes.
I don't have any control on that, and it's fine. Like, but I don't know about it either,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
it's been a process of getting shut down by other people,
Yeah.
having like being such always like being in a new group and being the villain or like the kind of like
Mm.
the odd
Hmm.
one out. I was just like
Yeah.
and kind of trying to fit in because like I have all the solution. I want to be there. I want to be like in the middle of the people, but not understanding that it was just not even me consciously doing that. It was just like my design and like people
It's natural.
responding around that is just
Yeah.
it's their problem and their prediction. Having this
Exactly.
like awareness now that if I in any given situation I get in energetically, I can't control how people are gonna react. And the
Yes.
more I
Yes.
try to like shut down myself and not speak up, and it's not gonna work because
Mhm.
regardless, the projection are gonna come
Mm.
in.
Do you think that that's been one of your kind of biggest, I don't know, life learnings, wisdoms, is around, I can't control what other people feel about me?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing is like being so I'm the only manifestor in my family. I grew up
Oh.
with five people. So it was my parents and my three brother and me.
Hmm.
I'm the only non-sacral being. They're all sacral.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wowie. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how was that?
Girl, what's hard? And then there, at all of five of them, four of them are emotional, which is my
Um,
center that I don't have defined.
mhm, mhm.
Because I also have the ego through the third defined, so it's
Oh,
just
I was
like,
going to ask if you had the heart defined. Okay, so you have the ego slash heart will center defined as well to the. Okay, so you're a manifestor twice over.
yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard also to balance that because the ego is such a stronger energy that the spleen.
Yeah,
So
because
it
it's a
feels like
motor.
kind of
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
but yeah, but instead like and growing up with all that sacral energy, emotional energy, where I was, also the oldest child, so I was kind of like made at, the
Oldest
second
daughter,
one.
same
Yeah.
oldest daughters, oldest daughter, like support group right here. So growing up as surrounded by emotional sacrals, what kind of boundaries did you have to develop, or what kind of challenges did you have to deal with there? What would you suggest for people in that
That's
situation?
the thing. Like, I didn't grow up understanding boundaries because all the emotional people in my life are not aware of their emotions, and that was the big thing growing up. I was kind of like made, to be the most emotional of my family when inside is I'm not
Isn't
emotional
it
at all.
funny? I've
Yeah.
seen this. I've seen this a lot actually with my clients, like who have an undefined solar plexus. They're in a family with people that define solar plexus, and the people with defined solar plexus don't think they're emotional. And I was the same way. So I have a defined solar plexus, and my whole life I thought, up until in my kind of mid-20s, I thought I was not emotional. I was like, oh no, no, no. Like I'm not emotional. I'm the most emotional, like in the
Yes.
room. I was
But
like,
that's the thing, like because the solar plexus like amplify emotions around you. You feel like when the first emotion just straight into you, it's so big, even if it's like a smaller one for the emotional person. But because you have like the person who you taking that from is not aware at the time of their emotion, and you are not aware that you're not supposed to like take that emotion as yourself,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to like let it go and like kind of not feel that you're not the emotional person because you're making such a big deal of like a smaller emotion, and that's how
Yes.
you feel it. But it's just like a path through instead of just like staying in your body and like being feel by
Yes.
the person who's feeling it.
Yes.
um, and it's
How?
not to say that you don't feel emotion also, because that's the like the tricky say thing too. It's just like this idea that you're defined in the solar plexus, so you don't feel emotion, where we are all human beings. We all
Of
feel.
course, we all do, just in different ways.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's been tricky to grew up with that because there's no awareness around anybody's emotion, and I was kind of like the one who tried to initiate everyone to like take care of their emotion, and like going through a therapist at like 12 and like trying to like talk about
Yeah.
all of this,
Yeah.
and also having other issues and whatever.
Mhm. Yeah, you probably were the person who was like trying to, okay, let me try to, especially as a manifestor, let me try to lead people towards the right solution. But
Yes.
when you're young, people don't believe that you should be leading and all of that. So how important is it for you to have boundaries or alone time? Because I know that's a
Oh,
big thing that we often talk about with manifestors and families,
yeah.
especially, is alone time. Talk about that. Like, what are your thoughts?
So that's my process, and I growing up in that environment and kind of like going away in different situation where I wasn't living alone and whatever, to a
Mhm.
place where I ended up living alone for a little while before coming back to France, where I had to come back to my mom's place and
Oh
like
my
living
goodness.
again with her.
Yeah.
And it was cool because I went away and I learned about how I need someone alone time. I need someone to respect my space and to
Mhm.
not talk about whatever situation they have. And that's also the thing that plays out in my mom's and myself relationship. I was really the kind of like support that she needed. Like
Like,
she
yeah,
dumped
everyone's
every
dumping on you.
single
Yeah. Mhm.
emotion that I had, like she had onto me, and it was kind of hard. And I'm still learning to, put boundaries on around that, and like
Yes.
being alone is like really what it gets to, and being safe in the alone space is what I
Mhm.
learned, because growing up with all that emotional baggage that wasn't mine, I learned that specifically with my mom, I'm not safe in, because she's not aware of her emotion. So
Mhm.
when I'm with her, I'm not safe with my emotion because she can't deal with her. So every time I speak about mine, it's just like a mirror effect that she can like
Mhm. Yes,
see
yes.
hers.
I think
And
this is such a big thing for manifestors, not only being alone, but like you said, being safe with when you're with people,
yes,
making very clear decisions, which you can when you're older, right? Around,
yeah,
okay, who am I surrounding myself with?
oh yeah.
How important has like your community or like being very selective? Have you found that to be important to you?
Yes, I got lucky, and that's the thing that I learned. One of my best friend I ended up living in LA with for a while,
Mm.
is also an emotional being. She's a projector though, so it's just like
Okay,
it's
yeah.
better to like deal with only one center that just came into
Yeah.
like two, because sacral plus solar plexus is a lot. But
It's a lot.
and we it was so funny because we lived together in France. Then I moved to the US and she met me in the US and we lived together there. And it was kind of like how it's gonna go, because the first time wasn't too much, but the second times we both found her space, and how we needed to respect
Oh,
each other
nice.
in both of
Nice.
our space.
Yeah.
And we ended up living in like this small studio. We were in one room,
Like
but it
right
was
there. Mhm.
so clear for us. Like the boundary were so defined,
Mm,
and we were like so better at expressing our needs.
that's so good. That's
That
amazing.
yeah, it turned out so great. And then coming back to this, my mom's place, I put some boundaries like in place. Like the minute I got in, I was like, okay, I need that.
You're like, okay, I learned how to do this for myself. Like, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was hard for her to receive them. And that's also the other side of thing is like boundaries are so important. But some people are not gonna be receive them well.
Mhm.
And sometimes the only thing you can do is just like to cut that relationship at least to a place where I'm not cutting my mom out of my life,
Yeah.
obviously, but I
Mhm.
know that I can't live with her anymore. That's like
Yeah.
a given. I
Mhm.
just and I've learned through trauma therapy that there's like a other thing that happened that made me feel unsafe, but it played out through in the entire relationship. So now
Mm.
that I'm at this space, I'm like, okay, I need that. And once she's ready for whatever, if she's ready to like learn about it, we can
Mhm.
talk about it. But
Yeah. But
as of right
until
now,
then, it's like you are
yes,
only responsible for you, right? Like,
exactly. I
and
know that's the I. She was the first person I think I felt responsible for in terms of
Mhm.
like finding
Mhm.
solution and being like the old person that knows everything and like
Mhm.
help her for literally every single thing.
Mhm.
And I choose to not do that anymore. And it's hard because like there's the mental awareness of that, but there's also the emotional awareness of that, and it's just like can be hard to process.
Balance
And it takes
the
the time.
two.
Yeah, and
Yeah, yeah.
place the
What,
boundary through that is just it's a process. So take your
how,
time before
yeah,
doing that.
absolutely, absolutely. When we look at like the kind of when you learn about being a manifestor, the information, there's a few kind of core things that come into play that I'd love to ask you about as well. Like, what does this feel like? What is this like?
Yeah,
So there's the closed and repelling aura. That's like the way that it's described. I'd love to know what you think about that. The idea that kind of helps push people out of the way when there's something you want to do. And then I'd love to also hear, the idea of initiating things and informing as your strategy. I want to know, like, what is that really like in real life? Is it as simple as that? So yeah,
well,
or
no,
are
it's
they
not.
forming?
Obviously it's
Probably
not.
not.
And there's so much to that because like first of all you need to put so much awareness of like how you didn't function as that through your entire life until you
Mm.
found out about human
Yeah,
design. Or maybe
yeah.
you did and you had like this great space where the people around you let you be a manifestor, which is like hopefully the
Would be
goal.
amazing. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, at least, that was not something I mean, I could see situation where people were repelled by me, and I don't really like that
Okay. Yeah. Do you not
mission.
like that
And
terminology? Like the
yeah, I think
closed
close
aura?
close is better. I
Okay.
think it's like foggy also, like when people watch
Yeah.
you and they
Yeah.
can't see whatever,
Yeah.
like
They
they
don't really know what's
yeah.
going on in there unless you let them in. Yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And that's the thing also to manifestor that it's hard to, and I'm starting to learn about that. And it's use that. And I know it's hard because at first I was like, oh no, I was a people pleaser. So of course I want
Of
everyone
course.
to love me.
I just
And
need to
I'm
be
like,
open to
please,
everyone.
like, hey, let everyone watch. I'm great. I'm cool. I promise I'm not. I'm just but then you have like this side of you that, and for me, it's a big thing. I trigger people by opening
Mhm.
my mouth to
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Triggering people, very manifestor,
yeah.
not a problem. This is like actually can be a good thing. Yeah.
Yes, but the thing is, like, some people are not ready, or when you trigger them, you become the source of the problem.
Hmm.
And being in
Hmm.
the source of the problem when you were like such a people pleaser and want to be the solution as a fifth line,
Yeah.
it's just like so like opposite things that it's
Yes.
hard to deal with.
Yes. Yes.
So use that closeness to just be a little less with people, but also be with the
Available.
right people. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever I learn is like once I lean into that way of being myself, without apologizing every single time I open my mouth. I found out that there are people receptive to that, and they will come into your life,
Yeah.
and they will clear, like, your aura is going to clear the way to find the right people, and at least find the
That's
right
the mic drop
company.
right there. Okay,
Yeah.
that's that. There's always a mic drop in every episode. That's it. Pay attention, everyone. When
Yeah.
your aura is aura-ing in the right way, like, and you're clearing the way for the right people to come in. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. That's so powerful.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like with strategy and informing and stuff like that, it's just gonna be it's gonna be easy once you do that, because once you lean to this, like, okay, I'm opening my mouth to say
Mhm.
something that I need to say, whatever it is,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
I want to say, or
Yes.
it's gonna clear the people who are not supposed to be there, who can't help you, and
Yeah, they're gonna be
it's
like,
hard. Like,
"Whoa, not for me." Like,
and it's hard. I mean, I'm sending so much love to Manifestor out there, because I know how hard it is to receive that, and how I didn't want to learn that at first, and I get it. Just go through your thing. You'll get there
yeah.
on your own way, and it's gonna be fine. But it's hard to not be loved by the people you want to love, like, or the people you love,
Mhm.
and some people are a lot harder to get rejected by.
Oh
So
yeah. I mean, we all want to be loved and understood. I think that is like a fundamental, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like that's a fundamental need. We need to be seen, loved, understood. And so when we're not, it can feel so painful.
yes,
And I love you being an example of someone who, has had to learn that, but also knows what it is on the other side of that.
yeah,
That having strong boundaries, that curating your inner circle, that being closed when your aura needs to be closed, and being open when you feel safe, like all of these strategies, all of these things, like build your confidence, and it's so important for creating that life that you want.
yeah. And I also want to say it's gonna be so much easier to be in a relationship with the right people, because, like, let me tell you, I've met so many people in my life that I love, and they came and go and whatever, but there's something so easy with the right people that you're gonna get the love that you need. And it's something that I still struggle with it. Like, I still have time where I'm like, I push back through that. I don't want to lose the people. Like, I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to be, changing. And I don't want to initiate, because I know the change is gonna lead me to lose something.
Mhm.
But there's this other side where I'm like, the minute where I connect to the right people, I get so much like recognition of my impact to them. I get so much love. And it's just so easy, and so, like, I don't know.
It's
Every
like
time
this is
I
aligned.
talk to
It's like
them,
aligned. Like this is
yes,
what it's
it's
supposed to
yes,
be.
it is a lot, and there's no resistance to that. And the more you hold on to the past, or the idea you had in your mind, or the people you really think were like the people you wanted in your life, or maybe they were at the time, but it's not aligned anymore. The more you hold on to that, the harder it's going to get to the other persons,
Yeah.
and it's going to be hard, and so much
Mm.
tension and friction, and not good, and not good feeling when you learn to let go. And that's a lesson I'm still learning. So believe me, I'm not saying that with, like, all knowing and whatever.
It doesn't happen overnight, people. Of course.
But yeah, I'm going through this, but I also seen the situation where it's right in a line, and it's so easy, and you get all the impacts, recognition you need, and you get all the love for being big, and
Yeah.
being, triggering, or,
Yes.
just like pushing people, and it's so much better that what
Love
you
it.
were holding on to.
Mhm. Oh, that
Yeah.
is the mess. That is the message of this pod. Thank you so much. What
Yeah.
I want to close with one question, and then you have to. I'll ask you to tell people how they can get in touch with, how they can find you, follow your story. So what is your favorite thing about being a manifester?
Ooh. Ah. So I'm so bad at choosing a favorite. I look, I'm a polyamorous person. I'm a
Mhm. Like, don't make me choose just
bisexual
one.
person.
Like, come on.
I'm a no choice. Okay, I don't choose. You know what? I'm gonna say the freedom of not knowing what you're gonna do next.
Mm, mm.
That's yeah. Okay.
I received that as a little bit manifester. I
Yeah,
received
I mean,
that.
and I mean, it's for manifestor, but it's also I think if we all live in our design, we're gonna feel so much freedom in
Yes. Yes.
and that's the thing. We just need to be also yeah. We just need to be like manifestor. You don't need to do anything.
Mm-mm.
Just be
Just
yourself.
be yourself. Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. You heard it here first, folks. Tatiana is dropping the gems. Like, ooh. And we didn't even talk about your midheaven. We'll have to do another episode talking about your Aquarius.
Whenever you want,
But
girl.
I hear it so much in everything that you say, and it's so beautiful. Like, I am so appreciative of you taking the time, coming and sharing your story, your experiences, some really, really powerful stuff in here that I know is just gonna help some people on their journey and help them feel so seen and validated that like there's something so good on the other side of loving yourself, of healthy boundaries, of letting go of what people think of you. There is something so beautiful on the other side of that. So how can people stay in touch with you and follow your journey?
So I have TikTok where I'm
Okay.
gonna start
Yeah. We've got some
sharing
people
more.
shout out on TikTok. They're giving you
Yes.
hearts and everything. Yeah. On their
Yay.
TikTok live. So yeah, what's your TikTok? I'll put it in the show notes as well so people have
Yeah,
it.
so my TikTok is Cine Tati 40, I think, if I remember
Okay.
correctly.
I don't know if everyone caught that. I'll put it in the show notes so that
Yes.
people can make sure that they
Um,
follow along
and then I'll share. I also do tarot readings, as well as movies. So there's like I have a Instagram account where you can find my.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you do tarot readings as well? Okay,
I do.
yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, everyone go and get a tarot reading. Make sure that link is in your bio because you're going to get some
Yes,
bookings.
I will link it to
Yeah,
my
put
bio.
the
Yes.
link in your bio, all the things. Yeah, tarot readings. Oh, I feel like you're very spiritual energy. So this is going to be so good.
Yes.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Tatiana, for being on the Cosmic Queen podcast. This
You
has
for
been
having me.
such a joy. Yes, yes. And I can't wait to just stay connected, stay in touch, and
Yeah.
everyone go and follow her. And as we said in this podcast, just be yourself. That is the message. Just be yourself. Thank you so much. And we will see you next time. Bye.